Hi there, my name is Cody Wilder, and this is my creative work submission, or as I like to call it, the story of stories, or alternatively, how it's taken me my entire life and collected experiences to realize what I want to do with my life, or maybe even just why I want to major in interactive media. Follow me, please. Let's begin where most stories start. The beginning. When I was a small child, my life revolved around stories. Stories have always captured my imagination, be they written, drawn, acted, animated, or otherwise. When I was very young, the stories that captivated me the most were to be found on television, or in my own highly active imagination. Whether I was being entranced by the newest episode of Tiny Toons, making Power Ranger action figures out of a set of similarly colored felt pens, or reciting the earliest episodes of Dexter's Laboratory verbatim to my parents, I could not escape the influence that stories had on my life, nor would I wish to. When I turned 6, something happened to me that would change my life forever. My family purchased an N64. As soon as we got the thing, I was completely hooked. I'd play it any chance I got for as long as I could. I made it my mission to beat every game we owned, and would spend anywhere from hours to days trying to beat even single levels. My Christmas letters to Santa started to look like video game catalogs. I played games, I read about games. Heck, I even used to draw maps of what I imagined certain video game levels to look like. As I got older, my love for video games only grew, along with my collection of N64 cartridges, and the requisite player's guides, of course. Despite this, I still found other interests as well. One of these interests was acting. I was in my first play when I was 10 years old, and I did other performance-related activities as well, like humorous oral language skits, where my most successful performance was a comedy sketch of Jerry Seinfeld's children's book, Halloween. My rendition was, well, a bit more lively than the original, you could say. I continued to act all the way up through my senior year in high school, last year. You may remember me from such classics as Alice in Wonderland, as the tea-sipping Mad Hatter, Your Good Man Charlie Brown as the miniature piano-playing Schroeder, and Working as the dog-kicking UPS worker Conrad. And who could forget me as Mr. Beaver from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? I wish I could. Around 8th or ninth grade, I started to become really interested in writing my own stories. I mean, for years I've been watching stories on television and reading stories in books, but I never really made my own stories before, or at least never written any of them down. It was truly empowering to be the one calling the shots, designing new worlds and interesting characters, putting them into situations and watching their stories unfold. One of my most ambitious undertakings was a novel I started writing about a young man who, for one reason or another, finds himself trapped between life and death in a surreal state of limbo, escorted by a bespectacled otherworldly guide simply named K. The summer after 10th grade, I got accepted into a creative writing program at Stanford, where I worked on the piece and learned a lot about writing. Although it's still officially a work in progress and unfinished, it's still something I'm proud of. Other creative interests of mine were more visual. I've always loved drawing and animation, but it's only in the last few years that I've really made an attempt to develop this as a talent. I fondly remember getting up early in the mornings to watch cartoons when I was little. The old Hanna-Barbera classics like Scooby-Doo, Yogi Bear, Huckleberry Hound, and who could forget Magilla Gorilla. Luckily, the advent of Cartoon Network coincided perfectly with my childhood, so every day was a happy day for someone as enamored with animation as I was. I will admit, and I'm totally not ashamed to say this, I love cartoons. I've taken summer courses in Flash animation, both at Stanford and at... Shall I? Last summer, after I knew I'd be going to USC in the fall, I decided to try taking a more traditional animation course through USC's SCA summer program. It was an amazing class, taught by Shelley Wattenberger, aka Trixie. In animation fundamentals, I learned the basics of the hand-drawn animation process. It was time and labor-intensive, but I loved every minute of it. It made me realize that I really loved animation. Still there was something missing, and I didn't think that majoring in animation was really the right fit for me. I wanted to create something somehow more. Something that would bring in the aspects that I loved from everything I'd done previously. Something that could tell a story through animation, but with an added element of possibility. Or maybe even interactivity. Then it hit me. Stories in one form or another had always emerged from different facets of my life. Acting, writing, drawing, animating. But the one constant in my life was always video games. No matter what I was doing at the time, no matter what creative project I was currently working on, you could bet that when I decided to take a break, I was going to be spending some quality time with my video games. My N64, which miraculously still works, my PS2, which kind of surprisingly doesn't, my original gargantuan Xbox, my GameCube that suffered from middle child syndrome and was often forgotten, my Wii, my 360, my PS3, each has played a vital role in my life, allowing me to climb inside the world of my choosing and take control, take chances, see things I've never seen before, and experience things I'd never even imagined. Every creative thing I've done with my life can be, in one way or another, linked directly back to video games. They have, with no hyperbole intended, made me who I am today. And that's why I would love to be a part of the interactive media program at USC, to be on the designing end of the ultimate interactive story, and to learn how to create the things that have influenced my life so greatly.